Hi, it's Walter, and I'm recording this message for Sunday, May the 3rd, 2020. It's hard to believe that it's already May, and it's also hard to believe that this is the 8th Sunday in a row that we haven't been able to meet together because of the coronavirus restrictions. Well, last week we talked about taking things for granted. Because many things have been taken away from us, and because many of us have actually slowed down enough to realize and appreciate the things that we do have, many of us are realizing that we haven't been as grateful as we should be for the many blessings, the blessings large and small, that we have enjoyed without really appreciating them for the rich blessings they are. So one of the things I did last week is I encouraged you to make a list of the things that you are determined to no longer take for granted. No longer take for granted, especially as we move forward slowly, but move forward back to our busier and faster paced lives. And if your list is anything like mine, it is full of family-related items. I'm determined to no longer take my wife and my children and my parents and my siblings for granted. And my list also has a lot of church-related items on it. I want to be more grateful for our elders and our deacons and our ministry leaders. I want to be more grateful for our teachers and our small group leaders. I want to be more grateful for each one of you who have chosen to make this your church home. So my list, probably like your list, is a reflection of this opportunity that we've been given to look past the clutter of our normally crazy lives and recognize the things that are right in front of us that truly matter. And looking at the things right in front of us that really matter is exactly what I wanted us to do. But I don't want us to be so focused on the things that are right in front of us that we lose sight of the fact that there are things that we should be grateful for that are much bigger than our immediate families and are much bigger than our local congregation of the church. I'm sure you were deeply touched by our communion service last week. To have an opportunity to commune with our brothers, with Brad and Stallone and Samiso. An opportunity to commune with our brothers from Eswatini in southern Africa, 10,000 miles away from Africa. Having that opportunity made me realize that when I think of family and that when I think of church, I'm usually thinking way too small. Years ago, before Kathy and I were married, I took Kathy to my grandparents' house in Hope, New Mexico for Thanksgiving. And when I look back on it, I realize that I didn't do a very good job of preparing Kathy for what she was going to experience in Hope, New Mexico. You see, I'm part of a large family. My mom is one of 9 kids, and Kathy's family is quite small. So we arrived in Hope on a Wednesday night. We went to our respective bedrooms, and then we were up early Thursday morning. Now you need to understand, my grandparents' house was large, and it was a rambling structure, and there were beds and bedrooms in places you wouldn't expect. And Thanksgiving morning, as my aunts and uncles and dozens of cousins continued to arrive from different parts of the house, I could tell that Kathy's concept of family hadn't prepared her for my family. Her concept of family was simply too small to even imagine my big family. And I think we're often like that about the church. Our concept of the church is often too small to allow us to imagine how big our church family really is. I know I'm guilty of that. As the preacher of Netherwood Park Church of Christ, I tend to think of this congregation as being equal to the church? You hear that in our language, right? We ask, how big is your church? We ask, how does your church? We ask, why does your church? We ask, where is your church? We ask, when is church? And that was even before coronavirus. And now that I have virus brain and my focus has been narrowed even further, I ask questions like this. How is our church going to stay in contact? How is our church going to worship? How is our church going to pay its bills? How is our church going to adapt to a gradual lifting of restrictions? And then last Sunday happened. And Brad and Stallone and Samiso led us through our communion service, and I realized that my concept of family and my concept of church is way too small. You see, the church is like my grandparents' house. The church is big, and the church is rambling, and the church has locations in all kinds of unexpected places. And on every Sunday morning, there are family members. There are brothers and sisters that are emerging from all corners of the globe to give thanks and to commune with their God and to commune with their church family. A few weeks ago, we talked about how we need to open our eyes to see that those who are for us are greater than those against us. And today, I want us to open our eyes to the fact that when we think of us, when we think of the church, when we think of us, we think of us as being way too small. You see, I think we've been taking the size of the church, and we've been taking the strength of the church, and we've been taking the power of the church, and we've been taking the influence of the church. We've been taking all of that for granted. So it's time for us to have our own Thanksgiving morning and see that there are brothers and sisters emerging from every part of this big, rambling house of a church. You know, one of the reminders we've received during this crisis is just how connected our world really is. We've been reminded that anything done in one part of the world can have significant impacts on the other parts of the world. You see, the coronavirus has made a mockery of borders, a mockery of city borders and county borders and state borders, and certainly a mockery of national borders. None of those borders really matter to a virus. In fact, that's one of the great ironies in this crisis. While we've been social distancing, while we've been putting up our own borders, our own personal borders, the virus is continually reminding us of how close even people on the other side of the world really are. That's one irony. Now, let me give you a more important irony. Today, on this Sunday morning, while we are confined to our houses, while we are being kept away from what we usually think of as church, today, this Sunday, our eyes can be opened to see just how big and vibrant and powerful and borderless God's church really is. Today, on this Sunday morning, your family is at home, but your family is also in Asia and Africa. And your family is in Europe and Australia. And your family is in North and South America. And your family is even, I suspect, in Antarctica. You see, our concept of church, our concept of family has often been too small, and we need to reconnect with the big, the powerful, the vibrant church that Jesus gave his life to establish. So let me remind you of how you fit into this family, his family. In Romans chapter 12, we read that in Christ, we who are many form one body, and each member belongs to all the others. In 1 Corinthians chapter 12, we're reminded that the body is a unit. And though all its parts are many, they form one body. So there should be no division in the body, but its parts should have equal concern for each other. If one part suffers, all parts suffer with it. If one part is honored, every part rejoices with it. And in Colossians chapter 3, we read that here in the church, there is no Greek or Jew. There's no circumcised or uncircumcised. There's no barbarian, Scythian, slave or free, but Christ is all and is in all. And in Ephesians chapter 4, we learn that there is one body and one spirit. There's one hope, there's one Lord, there's one faith, there's one baptism, there's one God and Father of all. And he's over all, and he's through all, and he's in all. Do you hear that? You are part of one big, powerful, vibrant, sprawling family of God. And that's a message we desperately need to hear. We are not alone. You are part of something much bigger. You're part of something much bigger than however many people are with you watching this video right now. And in fact, we're part of something much bigger than however many hundreds of people will watch this video sometime today. And brothers and sisters, that gives us hope and comfort. We have brothers and sisters all over the globe. You have family in Asia, Africa, Europe, Australia, all over the Americas. And as we learned from our brothers in Eswatini last week, we know that others in our family are thinking about us. We know that others in our family are praying for us. We know that others in our family feel a connection to us. And I don't know about you, but that brings me peace, and it brings me comfort, and it brings me strength. So I have to stop and wonder. I have to wonder, what can we do? What can we do to bring the same sense of connection and peace and comfort and strength to our big, sprawling family all over this globe? And I know we can't make contact with all of our huge family, but I also know that we can connect with some. We can certainly reach out to our brothers and sisters whose ministry efforts we support. We can connect with Patinya and Make and our family in Bangkok, Thailand. We can reach out to Becky and Moses and our family in Matsafa, Eswatini. We can reach out to Brad and our family at the African Christian College. And we can reach out to Wayne and Mary and our family in South Dakota. We can certainly connect with them and let them know that we're thinking about them, that we're praying for them. And when we do that, we can give them that same peace and comfort and strength we receive from our brothers in Eswatini. We can let them know that we are all family. We're all part of one big, powerful, sprawling family. So here's your challenge. If you receive the Netherwood News and Notes email messages, tomorrow you're going to receive a message. You're going to receive an email message that has links to the email addresses of each of those family members I just talked about. And I challenge you to send each of them a message of love, a message of support, a message of family unity. And if you don't get the news and notes messages, I want to encourage you to just simply email me. You can find my address on the Netherwood Park website. If you'll just email me, I'll send you those links and you can send a message to your family members across the globe. Let's do this. As part of the local church, let's reach out. Let's reach out far away to our sprawling family, and let them know that they are not alone. And to those of you listening, let me say, may the Lord bless you and protect you. And may the Lord make his face shine on you and give you peace as you live your life as a part of God's big, sprawling family. Amen.